My name is Dakota, and I'm 32 years old. Right now, I'm the proud owner and head chef of the Gilded Spoon, a Michelin-starred restaurant that's booked solid for months. My life, by all accounts, is a culinary dream come true. But it wasn't always gleaming kitchens and glowing reviews. In fact, my journey to this place started with a heartbreak so profound, it threatened to unravel me entirely. The turning point, the moment everything shifted, was the day I heard he was getting married. Not to me, of course, but to someone else. The man I'd loved with every fiber of my being, the one I'd imagined a future with since we were kids, was about to become someone else's husband. It felt like a punch to the gut, a betrayal of unspoken promises. I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that I couldn't let it happen. I had to stop that wedding, and the only way I knew how, the only skill I had that felt potent enough, was cooking. This isn't just a story about a chef. It's a story about a woman who used her passion to fight for what she believed was hers, even if it meant risking everything. Get ready to dive into a tale of love, rivalry, and unexpected turns. You won't want to miss a single bite. The news hit me like a rogue wave, knocking the air out of my lungs. My Liam, was engaged. The announcement scrolled across my phone's screen. A picture of his beaming face next to a woman I didn't recognize, her hand adorned with a diamond that seemed to mock my very existence. We had been inseparable since kindergarten, two halves of a whole, or so I'd always believed. Our families had joked about our inevitable wedding, our lives intertwined. But somewhere along the line, while I was busy chasing my culinary dreams, he'd apparently been building a life without me. The pain was a physical ache, a raw wound. I spent days in a fog, the scent of fresh ingredients in my small apartment kitchen suddenly oppressive. How could he? How could we end like this? Then, amidst the tears and the self-pity, a different emotion began to simmer, defiance. If he thought he could just move on, forget everything we had, he had another thing coming. My mind, usually focused on perfecting a bechamel or mastering a soufflé, began to churn with a single audacious idea. I would stop that wedding. But how? I was a chef, not a saboteur. And then it clicked. I would use the only weapon I truly possessed, my food. I would become the most sought-after chef in the city, so indispensable, so utterly brilliant, that his fiancée would realize what she was missing, or better yet, he would. It was a crazy, desperate plan, fueled by a broken heart and a burning desire for revenge, or perhaps redemption. The aroma of freshly baked bread filled my small apartment, a comforting counterpoint to the storm brewing inside me. My fingers, usually so nimble, trembled as I kneaded the dough, a physical manifestation of my turmoil. This wasn't just about stopping a wedding anymore. It was about reclaiming something I felt I'd lost. My culinary journey, which had always been a labor of love, suddenly became a relentless, almost obsessive pursuit. I dove headfirst into the world of professional cooking, leaving my comfortable but unremarkable job at a local bistro. I enrolled in every masterclass, staged in every high-end kitchen that would have me, often working 16-hour days with barely a break. My hands were perpetually scarred from burns, my feet ached, but the pain was a welcome distraction from the ache in my heart. I experimented endlessly, pushing the boundaries of flavor, texture, and presentation. My small apartment kitchen, once a place of comfort, became a laboratory filled with exotic spices, rare ingredients, and the incessant hum of my stand mixer. Friends worried about me, seeing the dark circles under my eyes and the fierce, almost desperate glint in them. They told me to let him go, to move on. But I couldn't. Not yet. Every perfectly seared scallop, every delicate pastry, every innovative sauce was a silent declaration of war. I wanted to create food that wasn't just delicious but unforgettable. Food that spoke of passion, of artistry, of a soul poured into every dish. My goal wasn't just to be good. I wanted to be legendary. I started catering small, exclusive events, word spreading quickly about the mystery chef who could transform simple ingredients into edible masterpieces. Soon, the requests started pouring in, each one a step closer to my ultimate goal. I worked tirelessly, fueled by caffeine and an unshakable resolve. This wasn't just about stopping a wedding, it was about proving something to myself, about transforming my pain into power. And the kitchen, once a sanctuary, had become my battlefield. With each perfectly executed dish, I felt a flicker of the old Dakota return, a confidence that had been eclipsed by heartbreak. My culinary skills were not just a means to an end. They were becoming an extension of my very being, a language I spoke fluently. My reputation grew exponentially. The Gilded Spoon, The restaurant I opened with every penny I had became the talk of the town. Reservations were impossible to get, and food critics raved about my unique approach to modern American cuisine. I had achieved the recognition I craved, but the real test was yet to come. The day finally arrived. I received a catering request, one that made my blood run cold, and then race with a furious excitement: Liam's wedding. It was audacious, almost unbelievable, that they would even consider me, given our history. But apparently my reputation preceded me, and my food was simply too good to pass up, even for a former flame. A part of me wanted to refuse, to protect myself from the inevitable pain. But the stronger part, the one fueled by a year of relentless work and a burning desire for closure, knew I couldn't. This was my moment. This was my stage. I meticulously planned the menu, choosing dishes that were not only exquisite but also carried subtle echoes of our shared past, flavors that would evoke memories only he and I would understand. It was a risky strategy, a gamble with my heart on the line. Every ingredient was hand-selected, every presentation designed to be a work of art. My team, unaware of the personal stakes, marveled at my intensity, my almost manic energy. I poured every ounce of my being into that menu, into every single dish, knowing that this wasn't just about food. It was about a final, desperate plea, a culinary confession. The closer the wedding day approached, the more a knot tightened in my stomach. Could I really go through with this? Could I stand there, watching him marry another woman, while serving them the food of my soul? The answer, despite the fear, was a resounding yes. This was my last chance to remind him of what he was losing, to show him what he had cast aside. The scent of roasting herbs and simmering sauces filled the air, a symphony of flavors that promised an unforgettable feast. Yet, beneath the surface of culinary perfection, a storm of emotions churned, a prelude to the dramatic encounter awaiting me. The wedding day arrived, cloaked in a deceptive summer sun. The venue was breathtaking, adorned with flowers and shimmering with anticipation. I stood in the bustling kitchen, a whirlwind of calm amidst the controlled chaos, directing my team with precise, practiced movements. My heart hammered against my ribs, a relentless drumbeat. Then I saw him. Liam, in a tailored suit, looking every bit the dashing groom. And beside him, his fiancée, a beautiful woman with a gentle smile. A pang of something akin to regret, and another, sharper pang of jealousy shot through me. But I pushed it down. This was a performance, and I was the lead. The first courses went out, each one met with gasps of delight from the guests. I watched from the kitchen's edge, observing Liam's reactions, searching for any sign of recognition. When the main course was served, a slow-roasted lamb infused with rosemary and garlic, a dish I had perfected specifically because it was his favorite, I saw it. A subtle shift in his expression, a flicker of something in his eyes. He paused, fork suspended, and looked directly at me across the crowded reception hall. For a fleeting moment, it felt like no one else existed. It was just us and the language of our shared past, spoken through food. His fiancée noticed his distraction, a slight frown creasing her brow. I kept my face impassive, but inside, a tiny spark of hope ignited. Throughout the evening, as I circulated, discreetly overseeing every detail, I could feel his gaze on me. There were no grand declarations, no dramatic interruptions. Just lingering looks, unspoken questions, and a growing tension in the air that only we seemed to sense. By the time the wedding cake, a masterpiece of my own design, was unveiled, the atmosphere felt charged. He sought me out, approaching me as I was giving instructions to my pastry chef. "Dakota," he said, his voice a low rumble. "The food, it's incredible." His eyes held a depth I hadn't seen in years. My heart nearly burst. The clinking of glasses and the murmur of conversation faded into a distant hum as our eyes met across the room. In that single, shared glance, a lifetime of unspoken words seemed to hang in the air, thick with unspoken possibilities. After the cake was served, Liam found me by the dessert station, away from the main celebration. The noise of the party receded, replaced by the quiet hum of the kitchen equipment. He looked different, less carefree, more burdened. "Dakota," he began, his voice softer now, "I need to talk to you." My heart clenched. This was it, the moment of truth. I braced myself. "The food tonight," he continued. "Every dish, it's like you cooked a map of our past." I recognized so many flavors, so many memories. His gaze was intense, searching. "Why?" he asked, a raw vulnerability in his tone. I took a deep breath, the scent of vanilla and chocolate filling the air around us. "Because," I started, my voice wavering slightly, "I wanted you to remember." To remember everything. I looked directly into his eyes, letting all the years of unspoken feelings pour into that single glance. I became a chef, Liam, because of you. Because after you left, I felt lost. And then, when I heard you were getting married, I realized I couldn't just stand by. I wanted to stop it. The words tumbled out, a confession I had held onto for so long. He stood there, silent for a long moment, his eyes unblinking. The weight of my confession hung heavy in the air. His fiancée, sensing his absence, began to look around for him. The sounds of the wedding party started to seep back into our quiet corner. Dakota, he finally said, his voice barely a whisper. I never knew. I always thought you were just pursuing your passion. He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture of confusion and regret. The moment was suspended, fragile. The next words, I knew, would determine everything. The silence stretched between us, thick with unspoken emotions, each second pregnant with the weight of our shared history and the raw honesty of my confession. The fate of everything seemed to hinge on his next words. Just as he was about to speak again, his fiancée, Sarah, approached, a questioning look on her face. Liam, is everything all right? Her voice was gentle, but her eyes, resting on me, held a flicker of apprehension. Liam hesitated, then took a deep breath. Sarah, he began, his voice clearer now, though still strained. Dakota and I, we have a lot of history. He turned to me, his gaze firm. Dakota, thank you for being so honest. And for the food tonight. It truly was extraordinary. He paused, then looked back at Sarah. I need a moment. Sarah, sensing the shift, nodded slowly, her smile fading. She gave me a long, thoughtful look before excusing herself, leaving us alone again. The air was charged. Liam turned back to me, his shoulders slumped. Dakota, I don't know what to say. I never realized the depth of your feelings, or that my actions affected you so profoundly. He looked around the now emptying kitchen, as if searching for answers in the gleaming stainless steel. I thought you had moved on, found your path. I felt free to find mine. He ran a hand through his hair again. Sarah is a wonderful woman. Kind intelligent, but after tonight, after hearing you, I can't deny what's here. He gestured vaguely between us. I can't marry her knowing this. Knowing what we could have had, what we might still have. My heart soared and plummeted simultaneously. The wedding was off. My desperate, audacious plan had worked. But at what cost to Sarah? A wave of guilt washed over me. Liam, I started, my voice barely audible. I never meant to hurt anyone. He shook his head. You didn't. You just made me see clearly. For the first time in a long time. He took a step closer, his eyes intense. Dakota, I know it's a lot to ask, but could we try again? Could we see if what's between us, what's always been between us, is still there? The question hung in the air, a fragile, hopeful possibility. The weight of the moment was palpable, a mix of relief and trepidation. The future, once a clear path, now lay open and uncertain, an invitation to a journey we both knew would be fraught with challenges, yet brimming with the potential of a rekindled love. It's been 5 years since that unforgettable wedding day. Sarah, to her credit, handled the situation with incredible grace, and Liam and I have both apologized to her countless times. She's since found happiness with someone else, and we're genuinely happy for her. Liam and I, well, our story took an unexpected turn. The Gilded Spoon isn't just a restaurant anymore. It's our restaurant, a shared dream we built together. He left his old career, drawn into the world of hospitality by my passion, and now he manages the front of house, a perfect complement to my culinary artistry. Our relationship isn't a fairy tale. It's a constantly evolving, deeply passionate partnership, built on a foundation of honesty, forgiveness, and an undeniable connection that always simmered beneath the surface. We learned that true love isn't about grand gestures of sabotage, but about understanding, communication, and a willingness to fight for what truly matters, even if it's messy and unconventional. The key lesson from all of this? Sometimes, the most unexpected paths lead to the most profound happiness. And sometimes, the very act of fighting for what you believe is yours, even if it starts with a broken heart and a culinary vendetta, can lead you right back to where you were always meant to be. If you've ever felt like your heart was leading you down an unconventional path, trust it. You never know what incredible journey awaits. Our journey together continues, one delicious meal, one heartfelt conversation, and one shared dream at a time.